you reaching junior or senior status coming up this next semester? Are you considering moving into an off-campus house? The excitement that moving off campus brings usually sparks the reality that one can finally have a pet in their home. In Findlay, I believe the most ideal way to obtain a pet is through adoption, but many college students don't understand how in-depth the process can be. It is important to understand and prepare the process of adopting an animal from a shelter or rescue. College students reaching junior or senior status are more likely to move off campus and adopt an animal. Throughout my personal experience as a student and volunteer at various humane societies, I am prepared to educate my peers on the importance of understanding the process of adoption. Today I'm going to cover the adoption process, beginning with the importance of finding the right animal to fit one's lifestyle, filling out the adoption paperwork, and being approved for the adoption itself. Now that we've covered the 3 basic concepts of adoption, let's discuss those concepts in more detail. When considering adoption, it is important to find an animal that fits both your own and the animal's lifestyle. There are many different factors to consider while searching for your perfect match. Take your lifestyle into account. How many credit hours will you be taking next semester? How many hours of work will you be putting on top of those credit hours? How involved are you on campus? So do you spend most of your time at campus or at home? Also take the animal into consideration. So if you're going to adopt a dog, is it a higher energy breed? Will you have to go home a lot to take it out to go on walks frequently? And also consider if the animal has any medical conditions that you will have to attend to. Your daily lifestyle will not only help you decide on what type of animal to adopt, but whether you should adopt an older or younger animal. According to Paw Chicago, they advise that even though you will be doing a good deed, do yourself a favor and consider all of your options. For instance, if you adopt a puppy, it doesn't come housebroken, so you will have to take that much more time out of your day to try to housebreak the animal. You'll also have to update them on vaccines. So I work at an animal hospital over the summer, and if you get a puppy from 8 weeks, you have to come in every 3 weeks to do its boosters. If you were to adopt an older dog, on the other hand, the dog may come housebroken since they're older, and they may already come spayed and neutered, so you will save money on that part. And you probably won't have to dedicate as much time to housebreaking the animal. Of course, there are more animals than just dogs and cats that can be adopted through humane societies and shelters, but the same process will probably be used. It doesn't matter on the species. For the Humane Society of the United States states that you'll have a relationship with your pet for many years to come, so it's worth being patient and taking time to carefully consider what type of animal is right for you. Once you believe you have found the perfect furry friend, it is time to get the ball rolling. Filling out the adoption paperwork is the next big step and can be very in-depth. It is important to acknowledge that all humane societies and shelters go about adoption differently. For this speech, I will be using Teddy's Rescue to show how in-depth the adoption process can be, because it does vary a lot from the Hancock County Humane Society. Reviewing the adoption paperwork and understanding the meaning behind the information is key when applying. Many shelters can require up to 2 or 3 co-applicants, so not just yourself, it would have to be like 2 of your housemates. They also require personal references. They will also ask you questions about what type of residence you own, so if you own it or rent it, where the animal will live, so indoor or outdoor, if you have a fenced-in yard, how much time the animal will spend in the cage while you're at work or at school, and how much time you will dedicate to being at home with that animal. Many shelters will consider the answers to the above questions when making sure the applicant's lifestyle will suit the animal's life and needs. After filling out the information pertaining to the applicant, it is then necessary to provide information on past and current pets in the household. Teddy's Rescue, for example, requires up to all current pets and within the past 5 years. Shelters want to know about all past and current pets that they've had so that they can contact the veterinarians. One needs to be willing to provide this information along with veterinary records and who your local veterinarian is. I have personal experience in this because I work at the animal hospital over the summer, and I have had countless calls of people calling the shelter is calling saying that one of our clients wants to adopt an animal, and I have to tell them whether or not they've been here within the past year for a checkup, or if they've been updated on vaccines, or if they are up to date on their bills. After filling out the application completely, the shelter staff will then review your application. Acceptance of the application can be very nerve-wracking and can actually take up to 3 to 4 weeks. Teddy's Rescue has a in-depth 5-step approval process. Once your application is submitted, it will then move on to review. The reviewing process consists of contacting the veterinarian listed, contacting one's landlord, and contacting those personal references that you wrote down. Next, a meet and greet will be scheduled so that they can come to your home with the animal. A at-home visit ensures that the household will provide a safe environment for the animal being adopted. If you're adopting an animal and have one of the same species at home, a meet and greet will also have to be scheduled. Sometimes they can do the same day as long as it's okay with them. Sometimes they're difficult about it. This will show the shelter that if there's any issues between the animals, an issue can arise due to like territorial dominance or protection of the owner. Meet and greets are for animals of any age, so even if you do adopt a puppy and you have older dogs at home, they still want to schedule a meet and greet. Approximately 3.2 million shelter animals are adopted each year according to the ASPCA. 1.6 million are dogs and the other 1.6 million are cats. So keep in mind that the Humane Society finds these steps very necessary for their selection process because they do this every day of their lives. Now you can see how in-depth this process is and why it is important to understand the adoption process. So now that you know the importance of understanding the adoption process of an animal from a shelter or rescue, the reality of finding an animal that fits yours and the animal's lifestyle may be very difficult, making it important to take your time while finding your best furry friend. Always remember that time and patience is key when going through an adoption process. The shelters and rescues just want to make sure that the animal is finding their forever home because, some people, they say that college students are bad for this because we move out, we get excited about being able to adopt an animal, and then after 6 months or a year, we say, oh, well, we're moving on to grad school or I'm going to vet school, and then they end up bringing the animal back to the shelter, and they just want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So just be very patient with their process and approval. And that is all I have, so thanks.